Hello and welcome. Today we are driving a 2019 Ford Escape SEL 4-wheel drive edition. This vehicle is powered by a 1.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, producing 179 horsepower along with 177 pound-feet of torque. That is mated with a 6-speed automatic transmission. Alrighty, let's take this for a ride. And make sure to check out my previous video, a POV review of this vehicle. Alrighty, so inside of this vehicle you get pretty good visibility all around because it has a moderately boxy design and it's very easy to see out of. You do have Sync 3, Ford's modern infotainment system, and also a very nice Sony audio system. And this does have an auto stop start feature, which I am going to turn off immediately because I personally hate it. Auto stop start means that your engine will shut itself off and start when you slow down excessively over and over, which most engine wear occurs when an engine is starting. So I think it's a dumb idea. I think it'll decrease the lifespan of your engine, but that's just me. So I turn it off when possible. And luckily, this has a hard button for it, which is awesome. So this does have a traditional shifter, and we will put that in sport mode right now because we are going to enter onto a highway. Alright, so the first thing I notice, the brake pedal in here is very, very touchy. In a very good way. It has very grabby brakes. They feel very confidence-inspiring to use. The engine's pretty quiet in here. It's a very quiet car. Very minimal wind noise. Tire noise is also basically non-existent. Alright, so there's a big dip in the power band right around there. 4,000 to 6,000 RPM. But it picks up nicely. In the low end, this is a very torquey engine, surprisingly, for being a 1.5 liter. I'll put it back into normal drive mode. Let it drive in economy mode. So this car does have a power driver's seat as well as a manual passenger seat, both of which are heated. And they have some very nice bolstering in here. It's a full leather interior with some nice contrast stitching, and the torso bolstering is very, very good. There is pretty good room in the rear. Not amazing, but it's good enough. Okay, so at highway speeds, overall noise is pretty subdued. Of course, there is some present. This is not a luxury car, but it overall it's pretty quiet. Tire noise is very quiet. Wind noise is a bit more present, going around 65, 70, but it's really not too bad. For safety features, this car has blind spot monitoring in both mirrors, as you can see active, and it also has emergency collision braking. Higher options in this Escape include lane departure warning with lane keep assist. It has a standard cruise control in here, no radar, but the cruise control itself is very simple to use with controls right here on the steering wheel, which is awesome. This Escape does get 22 miles per gallon city and about 28 highway, so it averages out to get 24 miles per gallon, which is pretty good. This engine, although small, due to the turbocharger, it really isn't strained too badly. Driving around town, driving around side streets, it's very manageable to drive. It really is never usually asking for more power. The only time I noticed it so far was that highway entry ramp. Around 4,000 to 6,000 RPM, it definitely does have a pretty big dip in the power band, but that's just due to it being a turbocharged engine. It has to let the turbo spool up effectively, but then you do get the pull you need. So with the 6-speed, I'm going about 68, 69 miles per hour, and I'm about 2,200 RPM. That's pretty good, but in a higher transmission gear amount, you could definitely get some lower RPMs, get a little bit better MPG out of this. This does have what I consider to be the funky windshield wipers, where they open out from the inside, each of them in inverse patterns, but yeah, it's a random feature. It doesn't really change anything, but it's just interesting to me. we will hop off on this exit here and see how body roll is. Alright, so body roll is definitely present. This just has a typical coil spring suspension system, but it's really not too bad. It still feels confident if you're sending it into a corner. But yeah, body roll is pretty heavy. Steering feel is actually impressive in this. I've always heard that Ford had somewhat numb steering, but this has very, very tight and pretty good feedback in the steering. It's not overly heavy, but it is very, very easy to drive. I'm driving, as you see, with a few fingers, but yeah, definitely responds to your input pretty quick. We can do a nice little 0 to 60 pull right about here. I will put it in sport mode, and let's see. Alright, it's certainly not that quick. Huge amounts of turbo lag and big dips in the power band, but it, at cruising speeds and lower speeds, it still feels zippy. However, when you put your foot to the floor, it certainly is not a very quick SUV. With 179 horsepower, you can't ask for too much. This does have a pretty nice backup camera in here. Pretty good quality, and it does have the moving tracking lines along with parking sensors, which is very nice. So as you can see, I'm on a pretty crappy dirt road right now, covered with snow. But intelligent four-wheel drive, as you can see in that little center screen, is fully active right now. So that's awesome. It can sense when the tires are on some inclement pavement or an inclement surface, and it activates pretty effectively. This does have the nice soft touch blinker where you can lightly tap it and you'll get 3 of those, 3 little indicator signals. I always like having that. Let's actually do a nice little braking test here. Alright, that felt really good. Yeah, these brakes, as I've mentioned earlier, they feel great. Like they're touchy and grabby, so they take a little bit of getting used to drive day to day, but they're really effective. I don't know if they use like extra large brake calipers on this, but they really feel impressive. That'll just about do it for this POV test drive of a 2019 Ford Escape SEL four-wheel drive. Make sure to check out my POV review I did of this vehicle. Thank you for watching, and take care.